This is a man's world. This is a man's world.
To protect the public from misinformation, to unite all people within our nation, to explain the law with facts and integrity, to extend our reach to the whole citizenry. I am Christine, I am Kate, and this is Learning Law Matters. Good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone who is watching our video right now. Today is another great day to learn more about our laws, isn't that right, partner?
Yes, it absolutely is. So every day can be a great day to learn more about the law, right? Now, what we're about to tackle is a very interesting topic. Everyone can relate to this one.
It certainly is, because today we're going to be talking about Section 12, Article 2 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Now, what does this entail, partner?
So, Section 12, Article 2 of the 1987 Constitution provides that the state recognizes the sanctity of family life and shall protect and strengthen the family as a basic autonomous social institution. It shall equally protect the life of the mother and the life of the unborn child, the natural and primary right and duty of the parents in rearing the youth for civic efficiency and the development of moral character shall receive the support of the government.
We can observe that this section has three different topics, right? The first one is the recognition of the state to the sanctity of family life and the strengthening of the family as a basic autonomous social institution. The second one is the protection of the life of the unborn from conception. And the third one is about the rearing of the youth for civic efficiency and the development of moral character that must be supported by the government. Don't worry guys, because we'll be tackling or discussing all those topics one by one.
That's right. So what are we waiting for? Let's proceed to our first topic, which is about strengthening the family as a basic social institution.
The family is considered as the basic social unit of the state. This means that the family is the very heart of the society, the foundation of the nation, which is why it is particularly protected by the state.
The state realizes the vital existence and subsistence of the family as the basic social unit of the society. The family is the origin of change and reform of the society, for it is where all human values begin, which is why under the provision, the government may not enact any law or initiate measures that would break up or weaken the family as a social unit, or in the guise of protecting the family, interfere in internal family matters.
However, is this absolute? Does this mean that once a couple marries, they're going to be stuck together for life, whatever the circumstances they may be in? What if the spouses are unable to perform their marital or parental obligations?
What if the spouses themselves want to absolve their union, to free themselves from the invisible bonds that ties them together due to abuses, infidelity, or neglection? Will the state still uphold the Constitution, or will these kinds of situations be exempted?
In the case of Singson versus Singson, Mrs. Singson filed a petition for the declaration of nullity of marriage based on the Article 36 of the Family Code of the Philippines. Under Article 36 of the Family Code, marriage can be nullified only on the grounds of psychological incapacity. Now, Mrs. Singson claims that her husband is a pathological gambler and is buried in debt, leaving her to be the sole breadwinner of the family. However, she failed to prove in the court that her husband is psychologically incapacitated and was indeed able to perform his obligations to his family. Remember that the state recognizes the sanctity of the family life, and it doesn't enforce the nullification of marriage, but rather offers mediation and counseling to couples in conflict.
However, in the case of Garcia versus Drilon, Mrs. Garcia, and in behalf of her minor children who were physically abused and inflicted with emotional, psychological, and economic violence, filed a verified petition of the issuance of temporary protection order against her husband pursuant to RA 9262. Mr. Garcia filed a petition of prohibition, argues that he cannot be issued with temporary protection order pursuant to RA 9262 because it violates the constitutional principle of protection and strengthening of family life. He questioned the constitutionality of the law in his petition for review on certiorari. So in this case, Mr. Garcia wasn't able to prove the unconstitutionality of the law, therefore his petition was denied. So they can be separated in accordance with the rules of legal separation since he physically abused his wife and eldest daughter, even tried to kidnap his son during his TPO and committed sexual infidelity.
In the first case mentioned, the Constitution was upheld because the state saw the willingness of the respondent to change and fix himself for his family.
The state is maintaining its cognition to the sacredness of family life and strengthening of the family as a basic autonomous social institution.
In the second case, the couple can be legally separated, but their marriage will still be in effect. Couples who are legally separated can still get back together if they reconciled after the legal separation. But in the case of Mr. and Mrs. Garcia, I think there's a slim chance of them getting back together.
Now on to our second topic. So it is also stated in Section 12, Article 2 of the 1987 Constitution that the state shall equally protect the life of the mother and the life of the unborn from conception. Now, what does this mean? Basically, the state recognizes that even the life of the unborn, scientifically called an embryo, is a separate human being and has the right to its life. This mandate essentially prevents the legalization of abortion in the Philippines, right?
Yes, here in the Philippines, abortion is illegal. It was made illegal under the Spanish colonial rule through the Penal Code of 1870, and the criminal provisions were incorporated into the revised Penal Code passed in 1930 under U.S. occupation of the Philippines, which has continued to be applied up until today.
And despite certain socio-economic concerns like poverty, unemployment, overpopulation, and even crimes as grave as rape, abortion is still not an option. It is because our Constitution values the life of the unborn child. The state acknowledges the most basic human right of the defenseless child, which is the right to be born and live its life. Therefore, terminating a pregnancy is prohibited.
But there is an exception to that. When the life of the mother is medically established to be in danger during labor, and only one of them can be saved, the life of the mother shall be the one saved. In that case, the sacrifice of the life of the unborn is not abortion, because it is also a compelling interest of the state to protect the life of the mother.
So, Philippines, the only nation in Asia that practices Christianity, places great value in the life of the mother and her child. It is also deeply rooted to the fact that the country's faith or religion has influenced the law-making body. The law can be seen to embody values of Christianity. This is how the Filipinos manifest their faith. It clearly presents the teaching of Christ and can be evident in the country's law itself.
And now on to the third and final part of our topic, which is the primary right and duty of the parents in the rearing of the youth for civic efficiency and development of good moral character shall receive the support of the government. It's already understandable from the statement itself, right? But let's dive deeper and talk about what really this part entails.
So in this part of the section, we will be answering the questions like what is the primary role of parents in rearing the youth?
What is the role of the government in supporting the parents in the rearing of the youth?
We've all known that the family is the basic social unit of the state. It is where the development of a child begins because who else is going to be the first educators of a child? It's the parents or guardians, isn't it?
Yes, our first walk, our first talk, first laugh, etc., we all learn them from our primary caregivers, which are our parents. And so the state realizes the vital importance of how our parents have raised us, because we are the future generation that will be building and improving the nation.
Now, let's answer the question. What is the role of the government in supporting the parents in rearing the youth? While the natural and primary responsibility of educating the child rests on the family, the state has a distinct role or line of interest in educating the youth because, other than good manners and right conduct, they must also learn humanistic, vocational, moral, and religious learnings that is necessary to develop as a social human being. So, for the attainment of that goal, the state creates public schools or institutions that will expand the learnings of the younger generation.
Indeed, the state creates institutions such as daycare, primary, secondary, and tertiary schools. Furthermore, there is a free basic education for the young learners. The public schools such as elementary and high school are now free of tuition. But that doesn't mean that the parents are compelled to send their children to public schools only. In fact, the state encourages more institutions to be created to make more learning opportunities for the youth.
These private institutions need to meet the secular educational requirement before they get authorized to offer it, though. It is also important that these institutions prove that they can efficiently and effectively function and provide proper learnings.
So overall, what conclusion can we get from our discussion today, partner?
So in conclusion, the Constitution gives great value to the overall well-being of the families because they are the foundation of the nation. How the state will be performing as a country, the solidarity between the people, and the improvement of the state is dependent on how the family operates and how the state will support the families in their pursuit to wellness and improvement.
Indeed, we will be carrying the values that we learn from our home as we grow old. So it is important that we are imparted with the kind of values that will strengthen our bonds as a society and will further our development as a state.
What about you? What have you learned in our video? If you have opinions that you want to express, you can leave them in the comment below.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have today.
We hope that you learned a lot in today's video.
Until next time, this is Learning Law Matters.
What if the spouses themselves want to absolve?
The Constitution gives